championship week in the state of Alabama. 12 champions to be crowned in men's and women's basketball here in the state of Alabama. And we will crown the 6A state champion in boys basketball here in Birmingham this afternoon between John Carroll and Bob Jones. Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Hensley, along with Coach Wimp Sanderson. And certainly John Carroll is the team everyone expected to be here this year. They have run the gauntlet undefeated. Bob Jones, however, putting on a postseason run of their own, beating number 3 and number 2 to get here. Plenty of talent on the inside, Coach, but their perimeter talent may be the best, starting with Ronald Steele of John Carroll.
Well, Ronald Steele's a terrific player. So they won 35 basketball games, have not lost. Bob Jones has won 35. They've got Jordan Howell, a very fine basketball player who's going to the University of Georgia. We ought to have a heck of a game today.
It's the matchup everyone's been waiting for, so sit back and enjoy it. The 6A state championship game between Bob Jones and John Carroll is coming up next on CSS.
Hi, I'm John Scheer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. You know, after teaching people how to operate their computers for over 15 years now, I'm amazed that there are still people that don't have computer skills, like Windows, word processing, the internet, and email. If you're looking for that new job, or maybe it's just balancing your budget, or even helping your kids with homework, these aren't handy skills to have. These are essential. If you're having trouble learning the computer, I'm going to help you out with a free learning lesson of your choice from Video Professor. Let me show you how simple this is. You put the CD in your CD drive. The lesson plays just like a video on your computer screen. The best part about this offer, this is free. You just pay a small shipping and handling, and I'll even refund that if you're not satisfied with my product. It's free, the risk is free, so what do you got to lose? Try my product.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-430-4932.
Sportsmanship is about building character. It transcends whatever happens on the field.
It's a handshake, pat on the back. It's about being humble, both in victory and in defeat. NCAA football. Pass it on.
What is the most influential time in a child's life? Age 6, 8, 12. Actually, it's between 3 and 8 every afternoon. That's the time a kid is most likely to get into trouble. Which is exactly why that's the time the Boys and Girls Clubs open their doors every day. These clubs provide a positive environment where kids can learn and grow and prepare for their future. Support the Boys and Girls Clubs, the positive place for kids.
Welcome back to the BJCC Arena, downtown Birmingham. The 6A state championship in boys basketball about to be decided between the Cavaliers of John Carroll and the Patriots of Bob Jones. John Carroll, led by head coach Marty Smith, leading Cavaliers to most wins in school history this year. A perfect 35-0, ranked number 1 in the state, number 31 in the nation. They have run the table so far, but one game to go for the Cavaliers to bring home the state championship. The starting lineup in the backcourt, Damari Carroll, along with Jeremy Sullivan and Brandon Sanders. Some good size up front for the Cavs. Ronald Steele and Joel Thomas in the backcourt. Steele is a superstar and only a junior this season. Bob Jones is led by Dan Bell, bringing his team to their first ever trip to the Final Four and most wins in school history as well. 30-5 this season are the Patriots, after knocking off number 2 Parker and number 3 Viger to get here to the state championship game. Their starting lineup in the front court, Fernandez Lockett had himself a whale of a game in the semis, along with Fernando Holden, who is a shot blocker extraordinaire. The backcourt, Jordan Howell, Marshall Toney, and Trey Butler. All of them can score in bunches. Marty Smith hoping his team would make it all the way to the state championship game this year. In fact, scheduled all of his Saturday games at 4 o'clock just because he knew the 6A game would be at 4 o'clock here. I think that's thinking ahead, Coach.
Well, I think it is. Anybody that can take a basketball team through the through the state for 3 months and be 35-0 certainly deserves a lot of credit. This basketball team at John Carroll is very, very good. And certainly the one at Bob Jones winning 35 games as well as another well-coached basketball team. We talked about it before the pregame, and this should be a terrific basketball game against two very well-coached teams.
A lot of talent on the floor between these two clubs. Bob Jones ranked number 7 in the state. They were number 4 most of the season, but stumbled a bit down the stretch. But as we said, have put on quite a run here in the postseason, winning the Northwest Regional to get here. John Carroll winning the Northeast Regional, beating Woodlawn and Mountain Brook there by an average of 26 points apiece. They absolutely hammered those two teams and then defeated Central Phoenix City 77-61 in the semis here on Thursday.
Well, certainly each basketball team has a star player. Jordan Howell, as we mentioned, going to the University of Georgia, averaging 17.5 points per game. And Ronald Steele, a terrific junior, averaging almost 19 a game. Should be a terrific game.
Bob Jones in the home white jerseys. John Carroll wearing the black with green trim. The officials, Shelby Tunks, Stuart Stevenson, and Mike Newman to call the action today. It'll be Carroll and Holden to jump it up at center court. And John Carroll wins the tip right into the hands of Steele, and he goes right to work. A little too strong, battle underneath, and Lockett clears it away for the Patriots. They're on the run. Here's Howell. Threads the needle. Off-balance shot that time for Marshall Tony. And these teams will go up and down the floor in a hurry.
We're going to see some pressing by an excellent John Carroll press as the basketball game goes on after made field goals and made free throws.
Carroll on the move. Had it swiped away by Trey Butler. And a turnover for John Carroll. Howell swings it across to Butler. Pulls up for a deep three. Off the back iron, and here's Steele. Great pass up ahead. Can't finish that time as Sullivan was off balance. And John Carroll turns it back over to the Patriots.
Steele does an excellent job of getting the basketball ahead of him, looking for the open people on the break. He did so then. They had a violation, but really a good look by terrific guard in Ron Steele.
Howell, beautiful crossover. Can't get the jumper to go. Holden with an offensive board. Here's Butler. Penetrates, kicks it out. Holden gets a second chance. Still can't cash in. And last touched by the Patriots.
One thing that sets up the outside shot is the dribble penetration, where the defense has to help a little bit. That's what happened then. They penetrated, they kicked it to the baseline. Unfortunately, the shot didn't go down, but good dribble penetration gives you some outside shots.
Bob Jones drops back into his zone. Sanders can't make them pay with a jump shot. And last touch by the Cavaliers.
Well, we had an opening there on the high post position, and a lot of times that is open against zone defenses. They got the basketball inside. Quick turning look, but he couldn't knock it down. But look for the high post to be open some against this zone defense.
Full court pressure from John Carroll. Patriots beat it. Here's Howell. Three-pointer on the way. And we're still scoreless in this ball game. A minute and a half gone. Working out a little butterflies here maybe for both teams. Bob Jones never been here. John Carroll has been here, but it was back in 1998 when they won the title as a 5A school. They're now 6A.
Kevin, I tell you, Bob Jones is almost playing a boxing one. They're taking Steele and playing him man-to-man, playing the other 4 zone, but they're really looking for him. Here you see the zone press by John Carroll after the turnover, but look for sort of a boxing one defensively for John Carroll, for Bob Jones.
Joel Thomas checks out of the lineup. Chris Johnson, a 5'9" senior, into the ball game for John Carroll. Here's Howell. Finds Lockett, hammers it home.
They got the basketball to the middle against that press, and when Howell got it, he turned and went to the hole, made a good bounce pass.
Lockett with the first bucket of the ball game. Steele answers on the other end and almost comes up with a steal. Instead, he'll get a foul. His first.
Well, it's a pretty... Here you see where he beats the zone press with the pass in the middle and then the easy shot down the other end and dunked it. Got behind the defense, behind the zone press of John Carroll and laid it in.
Bob Jones was really struggling in their game with Viger here on Thursday, and it was Lockett with a couple of second-half dunks that really electrified them and got them back in the ball game and propelled them to that 55-50 win. He got them going here early for the first two of the ball game with an exclamation point. Here's Howell. They double team him in the corner, and he turns it over.
As you know, both teams are pretty paying attention to these two really terrific players on each team. A little double teaming, a little boxing one, anything to get to these two guys. Steele and Howell means a lot to each team to be sure you cut them off as much as possible. They're doing that thus far.
Marshall Toney sticking with Ronald Steele. Jumper no good for Joel Thomas, who just checked back into the ball game. And here is Howell on the run, has it knocked away from behind. It'll stay with the Patriots.
Well, we mentioned the high post area was open, and the high post area was open there. Just couldn't knock it down.
Butler, quick pass in the corner. Jumper no good that time from Marshall Toney. And ball last touched by John Carroll. It'll stay with Bob Jones.
Half-court zone defense by the Cavaliers. After the press, they go back into a zone defense.
Inside they go to Holton. He's double teamed. Kicks it out, swing it around. Lockett open for a second. John Carroll closes the gap on defense. Here he is, Lockett. Three-pointer on the way. Bottoms. First 5 points of the game for Bob Jones, scored by Fernandez Lockett. They switch it out. Carroll, three-pointer. He can hit it from there. Left that one short. Bob Jones on the run. Don't have numbers, but Jordan Howell says, I don't care. I'm going to put it up anyway. Carroll swats it out of bounds.
Well, they've got some good shooters on Bob Jones' team. They have an opportunity to run on the break and shoot it off the break. Here you see the quick pass down to the baseline against the John Carroll zone defense, and bam, he knocked her home.
Lockett, oh my!
Great lob pass on the out-of-bounds play where Lockett got right in the middle. And you'll see that the little lob pass came right in the middle. Nobody was defending him. Nobody kept the ball off of him. And he laid it right in there. He actually dunked the basketball. Great play.
Fernandez Lockett says, I've come ready to play. 7 points and a couple of thunderous dunks. Inside they go. Carroll leans in with the baby hook. Bob Jones able to beat the pressure that time. Slashing to the hole. Marshall Toney. Steele trying to answer with a three on the other end. No. And we may have whistle in the corner. Looks like maybe Trey Butler guilty of pushing Chris Johnson out of bounds that time.
If you'll take a look at this penetration against this zone defense and zone press, they sort of beat it. They beat it at midcourt and took the ball to the basket. That's what's important to do. You can't hold the ball up.
3:49 left to go in the first quarter, and we're just getting started. Take a breath. Bob Jones leads it 9-4 over John Carroll. Both of them fighting for the 6A state championship in Alabama.
Sportsmanship is about building character. It transcends whatever happens on the field.
It's a handshake. Pat on the back. It's about being humble, both in victory and in defeat.
NCAA football. Pass it on.
What is the most influential time in a child's life? Age 6, 8, 12. Actually, it's between 3 and 8 every afternoon. That's the time a kid is most likely to get into trouble. Which is exactly why that's the time the Boys and Girls Clubs open their doors every day. These clubs provide a positive environment where kids can learn and grow and prepare for their future.
Support the Boys and Girls Clubs, the positive place for kids.
Dan Bell's Patriots making their first ever trip to the Final Four, and so far they're making the most of it. Electrifying the crowd here at the BJCC. Leading unbeaten John Carroll 9-4 here in the first quarter.
Well, this is going to be a terrific 6A basketball game. Not only do we have fine players, we have a great crowd here this afternoon.
Carroll open for three. No. Offensive rebound by Thomas. And took an extra step trying to get out of the crowd.
Well, you'll look and see now again as John Carroll prepares to set their press up again, trying to make Patriots turn over a little bit, but they have done a nice job of throwing over. They threw over them. They threw over them to the backside for a dunk.
Lockett soaring here at the BJCC. Johnson trying to answer with a three. Carroll offensive rebound, and he is fouled. Looks like they may get Fernando Holden on this one. And watch Lockett sailing again.
Here you're going to see the pass over it into the pass to the backside, and Lockett stuffed that thing, and that's what you've got to do against the zone press. John Carroll is beginning to pick up a little bit on the offensive glass then. They missed the shot, got the rebound, and now they're going to the line to shoot the free throw.
Substitutions in for John Carroll. Brian Murphy, a 6'2 sophomore, number 25. Also back in Jeremy Sullivan, 6'5 senior.
You know, one of the keys to this game is going to be if Bob Jones could hurt the Cavaliers' press, and thus far they've done a very nice job of doing that.
Three-pointer on the way. Not this time. Steele quickly into Sullivan. Powers in, and Holden fouls again. That is two quick ones for Fernando Holden, the 6'7 senior.
One thing about Ronald Steele, Kevin, is he's always looking up the floor. He's trying to find somebody that's open. He's a great assist man. Yes, he scores a lot, 17, 18 points a game, but he's also an excellent floor general, terrific guard, certainly played great as a junior, and will even have a better senior year, but a very, very unselfish basketball player who does a good job of distributing the basketball. That's what your guards need to do.
Brian Ondoxson, number 25, 6'8 junior, checking in for Bob Jones. I think that's been the most impressive thing about Ronald Steele this year is his unselfish play. Sure, he averages 19 points a game, but he dishes out nearly 8 assists, and he loves to get other guys involved.
Well, throughout his career, and all during this 35-0 season, he's done that.
Quickly ahead, the pressure is not fazing the Patriots. Trey Butler with an easy one. Carroll drives in on Doxson, bothered that shot. Battle underneath. Bob Jones is getting to every loose ball right now. Ball knocked away. It'll stay with Bob Jones.
One big difference in this basketball game thus far. John Carroll's going against a set defense, and the Patriots are not. They're getting through their press and getting some easy shots. But John Carroll's pretty much going against a set defense that makes it a little bit tougher.
Jordan Howell blocked. They try to go cross court. Carroll got a hand on that one.
Here you see the bottom of the zone coming out, and he blocked that shot. Now watch this lob pass in the middle here, although he goes sideline.
Lockett can shoot it from there. Barely drew iron on that three-pointer, and John Carroll will get the basketball back. Trailing 13-5, and they have been quiet offensively here for the last couple of minutes. In need of a bucket here.
Boxing one set again. If you'll note, they're out man-to-man on Ronald. The rest of them playing some zone defense.
Sanders over to Murphy. They go inside. Sullivan spins on the 6'8 on Doxson. No. Carroll, offensive rebound on Doxson, swats it away, but picks up the personal.
Well, Big Carroll's a very capable offensive board man, and John Carroll has not been shooting the basketball very well. It's important for him to rebound the way he is now and make some of these free throws to keep John Carroll in this basketball game, because they have not had real good looks at the basket, and they're really trying to keep the basketball off Ronald Steele. Once he gives it up, Kevin, they're trying very hard not to let him get it back.
Chris Johnson back in for Brian Murphy. Amari Carroll, the 6'6 junior, 21-10 in their victory over Phoenix City on Thursday. Missed that one. Steele, offensive rebound, and a stick back.
Good offensive board work there by Ronald.
Chris Johnson with a steal. And here is Steele going to work. No. Tip by Sanders. No. Carroll gets it back. Another opportunity, and he's going back to the strike.
You know, you talked about Bob Jones going through the press throughout the first, 5 or 6 minutes of this quarter. There's a time where the press got the basketball, set it down there, had a chance for a shot.
There's Steele.
Really good putback by Steele on the long rebound. You got to block out. And then after the steal on the press defense, you end up with a foul after the missed shot. And that's what John Carroll has to do to stay in this game. They've got to make Bob Jones turn this basketball over some.
Another chance here for the Cavaliers as Ronald Steele quick to the ball again. Beautiful pass inside. Sanders can't finish it. On the other end, Roberts handing off to Marshall Toney. Sullivan, beautiful spin move. Lockett says, I don't think so. One-on-one the other way. Toney spins. Got it to go. Counted and a foul.
Excellent running game by Bob Jones. They're getting the basketball off the board. You'll see here on the replay, they're getting the ball out very quickly. Here's the missed shot or the block shot. The ball is coming out on the long rebound, but everybody is running and a great move inside. Tony's very, very quick. He's a guard-type player who really can spin and move and gets the basketball going on the break.
Double-digit lead now for Bob Jones. And the John Carroll crowd is stunned. Johnson, penetration. And a hand-checking foul called inside. This one will go against Tyler Roberts, his first.
You know, the rule.
17th foul for Bob Jones.
Excuse me, the rule says that you cannot steer anybody with your hands. You've got to keep your hands off of them, and you're not allowed to steer them from a defensive standpoint. And a lot of officials let that go, and some call it. That was called that time, and it's going to be a one-on-one situation for the Cavaliers. They've had an opportunity to make some free throws. They haven't made very many of them.
Chris Johnson averaging 5 points, 2 rebounds this year. Really been a calming force in the backcourt at times for John Carroll. Can't hit that, but Sullivan got another offensive rebound off a missed free throw. Steele, beautiful pump fake, finds Sullivan underneath.
Great pump fake. Had an opportunity to shoot the jump shot. Very unselfish. Took the basketball down the basket for the easy shot.
Nice job by Trey Butler to save that one back in bounds. Tries to put up a three, and Carroll swats that one away. If you want athleticism, you've come to the right place. There is tremendous athletes on the floor for both these clubs.
This is what I'm talking about. A point guard or a two guard or whatever. He's got part of his responsibility is to deliver the ball to the open people. And, brother, this kid does that.
Only a junior. College coaches across the country salivating over this young man, and I think he's just going to get more attention this year when he starts going to some of the summer camps. He may be one of those guys who gets recruited across the country. Howell out front. He's been quiet so far offensively, but they haven't needed him so far. Fernandez Lockett has been the star of the first half.
John Carroll more in a 1-2-2 zone defense. High post is open. There it goes.
Roberts into a triple team. No. Second chance. Yes. At the buzzer as well. And Bob Jones is stunning number one right now after our first quarter of action. Doubling up the Cavaliers, 20-10. Second chance is at a premium right now for the Patriots as they take on number one, intending to take them down.
What is the most influential time in a child's life? Age 6, 8, 12. Actually, it's between 3 and 8 every afternoon. That's the time a kid is most likely to get into trouble. Or worse. Which is exactly why that's the time the Boys and Girls Clubs open their doors and their arms to kids all over the country every day. When kids walk into these clubs, they're surrounded by people who care what happens to them. Adults who make sure these children continue to learn and grow long after the school bell rings. But there are still thousands more kids who need our help. Thousands of kids who need help to prepare for a positive future. Please help keep these doors open. Support the Boys and Girls Clubs, the positive place for kids.
Dale in the huddle. Not a whole lot he can say to his team right now, but just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thus far in this basketball game, they've been able to beat the pressure, take the ball to the basket, get the ball to the middle some, throw the ball to the backside, and they've run the break very, very well. On the other hand, John Carroll struggled a little bit offensively, sort of against the box and one. They're trying to keep the ball off the steal as much as possible. They haven't had too many good looks, and the looks they've had, they've been fouled on some, but they have not been able to make their free throws. We've still got a heck of a basketball game. Two excellent basketball teams, two teams that are well coached. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the second quarter.
10 points, the biggest lead for Bob Jones. They've had it twice now. Let's get past to Howell, over in the corner, pump fake, kick it back out to Howell. Open look. Can't do that with him.
No, you can't. Pretty good look.
His first points of the game. Steele, can he answer? Not this time. Another offensive rebound. Sullivan continues to battle underneath. Steele saves it back in. Sanders. Holden and Lockett continue to bother all those inside shots. They're altering a bunch of them.
They are altering these shots, and the big folks for John Carroll have got to get some of these missed shots from Crimson and put them back in.
Holden? No. Can't finish. Can John Carroll save it? Yes. Thomas saves it to Sanders, and a reach-in foul that time.
Here you see Howell off a quick pass, squared up, got his shoulders square and knocked it home. Outstanding outside shooter as well as passer for Bob Jones, averaging like 17.5 a game, and he's going to the University of Georgia and play the Southeastern Conference. He'll be a real asset.
Coming off a 17-point performance against Viger in the semis on Thursday. The first player from Bob Jones to sign with an SEC school, so quite an accomplishment for Jordan Howell. And a loose ball foul underneath.
I'll tell you, Kevin, it's been a nightmare at the free throw line for John Carroll. They just not been able to do anything with it. And when they have missed shots, they've ended up with bad things happening to them, just like the situation there where they cause the foul. That's the missed free throw.
Biggest lead of the ball game at 13, and Marty Smith takes a 30-second timeout to try and calm the troops.
I would imagine that in all of the 35 games that John Carroll has played thus far, that with 7 minutes to go in the second half, they've had more than 10 points. This has been a sort of an unusual quarter plus 1 minute for them. And they usually get some points off of their defense as well as keep the basketball well, but they really haven't gotten that much off of their defense thus far. It'll be interesting to see if they change their man, if they do anything different with their press.
Not only have they probably not ever just had 10 points, I doubt they've trailed by double digits many times this year either.
They have gone two-man defense, Kevin. Which I think.
Howell. Wiener, no. Tyler Roberts. Blue-collar worker, that's what he does best. 4 points for Roberts. And it's a 15-point lead. Sanders tries to go into Sullivan.
We talked about the entire broadcast of the high post being open. And again, it was open. Here's a good pass to the backside, or actually a missed shot. Nice rebound there and nice putback.
Carroll tries another three-pointer. He is 0 for from there right now. Holden gets a piece of that one. And jump ball called. Possession arrow stays with John Carroll.
Opportunity for a three-point play, then the official called a jump ball, and the arrow goes towards John Carroll. And Texas defense again, you're going to see pretty much a boxing one.
Pass into Sullivan and a whistle, and if this is against Fernando Holden, that will be number 3 on the big man.
Officials are calling it awfully tight today. I think they like give these kids much opportunity to play, and makes it a little bit rough on both ends of the court for both teams. I had kept stats on John Carroll's free throw shooting, Kevin, but it's got to be not very good.
Into the lineup for Bob Jones, number 3, Keegan Bell, 5'10", 8th grader, getting some playing time. Also back in Marshall Toney, the 6'2" senior. Sullivan misses the second. Carroll, another offensive rebound. They've done a good job of that. Steal, three-pointer, bingo.
Great steal by Ron and a great look. Be interesting to see if this can lead to something. They're going to go back man defense and try to get out of that zone. I think John Carroll put a little bit more pressure on Bob Jones.
Lockett, maybe a little mismatch with Carroll away from the basket like that. Loses the ball, and a smart play to call timeout as he was on the floor and in a bit of trouble.
With 6:04 remaining.
Here you see Ronald shooting the gap, and when he did, he found himself wide open and knocked down the jump shot, and that gives them a little bit of momentum, and then they go back man defense. Change their defense since Bob Jones did such an excellent job against their zone press and against their zone defense.
Here recently, John Carroll's best looks offensively have come off of missed free throws and offensive rebounds.
Yeah, they really have.
Otherwise, they have not gotten many great looks at the basket.
Well, they've been to the line enough, Kevin, to keep themselves in this game, but they just won't seem to fall for them.
Right now, 2 of 12 at the free throw stripe. That's not going to get it done in this type of game. And there you see the shooting from the field, not a whole lot better. Here's Bell working against Steele. 8th grader against the junior. He'll lose that battle. Steele drives it in, lays it in.
It'll be interesting to see if this continuous change of defense is going to give John Carroll a little momentum.
Roberts working against Sanders. Picks it up in a bad spot, but able to give it off to Toney. Here's Lockett. Quiet offensively for a while, but he had some big-time fireworks in the first quarter. Roberts drives in. Oh, Fernandez Lockett again. Somebody stop him.
I'll tell you something, the Lockett kid is a really impressive kid. He played very well in the first game, and he does an excellent job. You'll see the missed shots. And as this shot comes up, he's ready to go offensively on the offensive glass. He's in a great position, and he drills it home. Here's another great look. And this shot on the break, but certainly an excellent follow-up.
11 points. Can't cap the three-point play, but I don't think you'll find a more exciting 11 points anywhere than what he has done right here in the first half. Carroll spins on Jordan. No. Steele there with quickness to get to that loose ball. He's in trouble in the corner. Chris Johnson thought about the three, steps inside. That shot altered by Howell. And numbers for Bob Jones if they hurry. Lockett again!
Good fast break. Good follow-up by Lockett. Toney and Howell on the break. And then Lockett cleans it on up.
He's living above the rim.
Here you're going to see Toney on the break. Howell on the other lane, shots missed, and bam, here comes the big man Lockett, and he drills it. It's about 3 dunks he's had thus far in this basketball game.
And once again, just like on Thursday, encouraging the crowd to get into this one. I don't think they can get much more into it, and I don't think he can do a whole lot more right now. He has put together a personal highlight reel here in the first half.
Bob Jones' running game is very good. They've gotten some long rebounds and some loose balls, and have done a really nice job of taking the ball to the other end.
Couple of free throws for Steele. He's in double figures now with 11 points. But it has been a quiet 11 because Fernandez Lockett has made all the noise here in the early going.
John Carroll's been knowing a minute ago, changing from the zone to the man-to-man defense, trying to get some pressure on these guys and cause some turnovers and get some hands in their face and stop the fast break.
Tony kicks it out. Three-pointer on the way. In and out that time for Butler. And Steele pushes the tempo. Behind the back. Oh, he stuck his
terrific move. Terrific move.
He can't do it alone, though. His teammates are going to have to start stepping up and contributing. 13 for Steele. He's cut it back to 10. Howell inside the three-point line. Monty.
Little screen on the perimeter there for him. He got loose. Drilled a real nice little 15-foot jump shot.
Carroll swings it over. Three-pointer for Johnson. No. Tipped in by Sanders.
Good tip by Sanders. Really good reach in there. Got it against the glass. Knocked it home. Back in the press.
Better keep an eye on Lockett here. Instead, they kick it out to Butler. Three-pointer, no. Sullivan has it knocked away by Lockett. Nice hustle, but the ball will belong to John Carroll. .320 left to go here in the second quarter. And we couldn't ask for much more excitement than what we've seen so far in the Class 6A state championship game.
John Carroll trying to do some screening on the guy that's guarding Steele on defense.
Inside to Sullivan. Lockett got a piece of that, but also got a piece of the arm. His second personal.
High post man for John Carroll. Got to do a little bit of screening for Steele because Steele has the ball most of the time. They're playing him man and give him an opportunity to come off the screen. Of course, John Carroll's got to start making some free throws, Kevin.
They have really struggled in that capacity. 4 of 14 until that point. Now make it 5 of 14. Sullivan hits them both. Cuts the lead back to 8. But John Carroll has still got some work to do. Ronald Steele's doing work, though. He's doing his part. 13 points for Steele, trying to get the Cavs back into it. Battling one-on-one with superstar Jordan Howell.
Sportsmanship is about building character. It transcends whatever happens on the field.
It's a handshake. Pat on the back.
It's about being humble, both in victory and in defeat.
NCAA football. Pass it on.
What is the most influential time in a child's life? Age 6, 8, 12. Actually, it's between 3 and 8 every afternoon. That's the time a kid is most likely to get into trouble. Which is exactly why that's the time the Boys and Girls Clubs open their doors every day. These clubs provide a positive environment where kids can learn and grow and prepare for their future.
Support the Boys and Girls Clubs, the positive place for kids.
We're at the BJCC Arena in downtown Birmingham, Alabama. Championship week in the state of Alabama. Along with Coach Wimp Sanderson, I'm Kevin Hensley here for the 6A state championship game between John Carroll and Bob Jones. The Patriots of Bob Jones in the home white. John Carroll in the black with green trim. Bob Jones looking to make it a double-digit lead again. Three-pointer that time, short by Butler. And on the run, Tyler Roberts. Nice hustle to get back. Smart play to try and throw it off of Sanders. But he missed.
Not a very good look for John Carroll then. They passed the basketball in the area where they really couldn't get it to the guy. It ends up as a turnover and Bob Jones basketball. And This John Carroll team needs to get some offense going besides the free throws, and also defensively needs to get back with a little bit more pressure.
Howell gives it off to a slashing Marshall Tony. That was a pretty lead. Back to a 10-point lead. That is until Ronald Steele cashes in for another two.
Ronald Steele was great reverse.
Damari Carroll counts out in the foul. The defensive pressure pays off.
Well, here you see back-to-back buckets by John Carroll, and really a great move by Bob Jones down the middle. Nobody guarded him, and then they come back with Steele, and he makes a great reverse pivot, knocks it home, and then they get another steal off of the inbounds pass and get the opportunity to score a three-point play, and they're staying in this basketball game now, cutting it to 6. Coaches have been a good while.
6 points now for Damari Carroll. He's been rather quiet. Can't cap the three-point play, and even off a missed free throw. Bob Jones pushing it. Jordan Howell.
Jordan Howell really quick with the ball. Really does a nice job of getting the basketball down the floor and looking for the shot, and drills it before the defense gets back.
Steele cut off on the drive, and Chris Johnson took a step before he put the ball down.
Here you see the break. It's by the defense. 15-foot jump shot. Drill City.
Jim Herrick probably looking forward to getting his hands on that young man right there. An outstanding shooter, but just also a very smart basketball player. Brian Undoxson with the ball, top of the key, just checked back into the ball game, almost traveled, gives it off to Howell. That's a good move. He's now in double figures.
Just about anywhere. He's got the little jump shot off the break, or he's got the three-point shot. Very gifted offensively.
10 points for Howell, who averages 17. Turnover. Steele luckily able to knock it away and able to save it once again. Nice hustle. And calling for the basketball. Ryan Dennis picks up a cheap foul out front.
Yeah.
That's number 2 on him.
Unless they've taken them with their hands. Here's the last really good three-point shot. And I don't see a lot of reason to call a foul like that out there. I think it's you get by without calling that and let these kids play.
Johnson, who has yet to score in the ball game, back at the free throw line for the second time. Hits the first. Brandon Sanders, the 6'2 senior, back into the ball game. Sullivan sits down.
70 basketball games won by these two teams. It's a lot of games.
Johnson hits them both, and here comes the pressure once again. Roberts almost has it knocked away from behind, then he does. Steele lays it in.
Back to the zone press now after playing man. Looks to me like they're back zone pressing a little bit more.
Back to a 7-point lead, and Joel Thomas picks up the foul as he reached in against Roberts. That's his first 15th foul for John Carroll.
That's his first personal foul, 15th foul.
Which Marty Smith of John Carroll said at the beginning of the year he thought 4 teams had a chance to be here. His team, Viger, Parker, and Bob Jones. Bob Jones beat both of them on the way to this game, trying to knock off number 3, number 2, and number 1 in the process.
Well, we talk about Jordan Howell all the time, but Marshall Tony has done an excellent job of really handling the ball, getting it open in the middle. He's made some really great cuts and got the ball to him. Right, nice moves in. Goes to the free throw line. He's averaging 12 points a game, and he certainly contributed very heavily to this Bob Jones team. Although you think more in terms of Howell, Tony's a very fine, very quick basketball player.
Everyone talks about the talent for John Carroll, but Bob Jones has 4 guys who average in double figures, Tony being one of those with 12 points a game this year.
Well, anytime you're able to beat Parker, because Parker had a terrific team this year, you know you've got a fine team.
Swinging it inside, Carroll, spin move, that was pretty, left it short though. Looking for a foul, didn't get it. On the other end, slashing to the hole, it's Tony again. He's got a dozen.
Bob Jones continues to throw over the pressure. And when you can throw the backside and over the pressure, then you've got something. That's what they've done all afternoon.
John Carroll looking for the last shot of the game, and they won't get it as Chris Johnson is called for the carry.
Here you see the pass over the pressure, over the press. Makes it very, very effective, very hard to defend.
Turnover's a real problem for John Carroll here in the first half. And we'll see if Bob Jones can cash in here in the final seconds. Over in the corner, they find Howell wide open. Can't put the exclamation point on it. Roberts almost gets another look. But the Patriots can go to halftime feeling pretty good about themselves. They lead the #1 ranked Cavaliers by 10, 41-31 in the 6A state championship game. Back with much more at halftime at the BJCC Arena in Birmingham after this.
I've never found a more secure, more consistent, and more prolific investment than putting your money in pre-construction condominiums.
You can buy a condo. Come down, fish, golf, sail. Gulf Coast is great.
I've probably made around $1 million per year. So what you're basically doing is getting immediate appreciation off your investment.
To find out more, call us toll-free. The information is free and there is no obligation.
CSS is your source for college basketball in the Southeast. Tune in Sunday for the Rutgers at Syracuse game at 2 o'clock Eastern, then at 4:30 it's the Women's Big South Championship. CSS is your source for college basketball in the Southeast. Tune in Monday for the Sun Belt Conference semifinals all throughout the day. CSS is your source for college basketball in the Southeast. Tuesday, tune in for the Women's Sun Belt Championship at 4 o'clock Eastern. That game is followed by the Peach Belt Championship. CSS is your source for college basketball in the Southeast. Friday, tune in for the Southern Conference basketball semifinals all throughout the day.
Halftime in Birmingham, and the home faithful of John Carroll a little bit stunned right now as the top-ranked Cavaliers trail Bob Jones by 10 at halftime. Along with Coach Whip Sanderson, I'm Kevin Hensley, and Coach, I think we're a little bit stunned as well.
Well, I think Bob Jones has done a nice job of getting the ball through the press, taking the ball to the backside of the press, and getting some cheap baskets. Howell's done a nice job. Tony's done a nice job of really getting the ball there. On the other hand, John Carroll has had an opportunity to go to the free throw line several times. The high post area is open, Kevin. They're sort of playing a box and one. They're getting the ball to the high post, but they're not able to make any shots. Either the defense is pretty good or they're trying to make one pass too many, and it ends up they're not making many free throws when they get fouled.
Well, let's take a look at some of the first half highlights, and it was the Fernandez-Lockett show in the early going.
Well, this is getting the basketball to the middle, as I mentioned, and there's a throw over, as I mentioned, the lob pass, and the dunk on the other end.
Then he starts the transition here.
Yeah, here's a good block of the shot, long rebound, ball out on the break. Tony's doing a good job of getting the ball out. John Carroll having a very difficult time getting back defensively because of the long rebound.
Howell's jumper put him in double figures with 10 points in the first half.
Here's a really good steal by knocks it home and gives them an opportunity to sort of get some momentum back on their side. They haven't had many runs of that, though. They probably had one or two, but nothing.
Another finish there for Lockett, and Howell starting to heat up in the second quarter. He was pretty quiet in the early going, but 3 players in double figures for Bob Jones as we take a look at the shooting numbers.
Well, I think the most glaring number there is 8 for 19 from the line. And when you think about that, Ken, a lot of those are 1-and-1s. So that stat really doesn't really show the problems that John Carroll has had. Field goal, of course, Bob Jones has, made 7 more. So that's the result of really doing a nice job against that pressure.
One more telling statistics, 11 assists for Bob Jones on those fast break transitions, only 2 for John Carroll. We'll see what the second half holds, though, as number 1 tries to stay unbeaten and claim the 6A crown. Marty Smith's Cavaliers have got some work to do here in the second half.
I've never found a more secure, more consistent, and more prolific investment than putting your money in pre-construction condominiums.
You can buy a condo. Come down, fish, golf, sail. Gulf Coast is great.
I've probably made around $1 million per year.
So what you're basically doing is getting immediate appreciation off your investment.
To find out more, call us toll-free. The information is free and there is no obligation.
What is the most influential time in a child's life? Age 6, 8, 12. Actually, it's between 3 and 8 every afternoon. That's the time a kid is most likely to get into trouble. Or worse. Which is exactly why that's the time the Boys and Girls Clubs open their doors and their arms to kids all over the country every day. When kids walk into these clubs, they're surrounded by people who care what happens to them. Adults who make sure these children continue to learn and grow long after the school bell rings. But there are still thousands more kids who need our help. Thousands of kids who need help to prepare for a positive future. Please help keep these doors open. Support the Boys and Girls Clubs, the positive place for kids.
Back with the third quarter set to get underway. Bob Jones with the basketball in a 10-point lead.
And the basketball game starting with John Carroll in a 1-2-2 zone with Ronald Steele on the point of it. Well, they moved it a little bit now to a 1-3-1. So they're playing a 1-3-1 zone, trying to trap a little bit in the corners. Be interesting to see what kind of start that Bob Jones gets off to.
Here's Howell working against Steele out front. Inside to Holden, nice pass outside. 15-footer won't go. Holden over the back, and that is quickly number 4 on him. So we may be seeing Fernando Holden taking a trip to the bench in the early going, and we will.
A lot of fouls called in this game. You know, in coaching, Kevin, the first 5 minutes of each quarter, the last 5 minutes of the game are really important. The momentum starts here now. If John Carroll can get something going in these first 5 minutes, it'll make a huge difference in this basketball game. But certainly Bob Jones has played terrifically throughout the first half.
Getting Holden out with 4 fouls, that takes some athleticism and height out of the middle. And Doxson is 6'8", but not nearly as athletic, and right away they go right at him.
Go right at him, and then they do a nice job of really getting that basketball inside, which helped him some. Carroll's a good player.
Another nice job to beat the pressure by Bob Jones, and Howell backs things out, sets up the offense. Butler switches back over to Howell, no. And the ball went over the top of the backboard. It'll belong to John Carroll.
Here's a really good pass inside. He uses the backboard, which is so important on that little side shot there. As much the percentages go way up.
Carroll shying away from the three-pointer. He was pretty cold on those in the semis as well and took his game inside. And he's over from behind the arc here today.
You know, I've kind of called this a boxing one throughout the telecast. It's probably more what we refer to as a triangular one, maybe, rather than a boxing one. The only thing I can tell you is they're playing one guy man and the other 4 in the zone defense. Triangle or box, it doesn't make any difference. It's a nice defensive setup for Bob Jones.
Sullivan stepping on the baseline, turnover number 10 for John Carroll in the ballgame. Howell looks to the bench for some instruction and then tries to avoid the trap out top, bringing Carroll and Steele. The best 2 defenders out top. Here's Howell, splits the double team, kicks it back out to Butler. Nice dish inside. Beautiful move by Tony. Finds an open Howell. Oh, that's pretty.
One thing you have to understand, against these traps, they're going to throw a lot of skip passes. And if you don't get there on the skip pass, Howell will burn you.
13 for Howell. Steele answers with his 19th point.
More trapping, more double teaming out of John Carroll thus far out of their zone defense. Now they look like their back man.
Steele against Howell. This should be fun to watch. Here's Lockett out away from the basket. Butler drives in, a floater, no. Kept alive by Tony. Finally corralled by John Carroll, and they're on the move. Steele spins again. Oh, a pretty leave inside. Sanders can't capitalize, though. Here's Sullivan. Carroll thought about the three, gives it off once again. Baseline drive for Sanders. He missed another one.
I tell you, this Ronald Steele is something. I mean, he can deliver this basketball and move with this ball as well as anybody you'll see in this state. There's a nice shot by the Howell kid on the skip passes. I mentioned a minute ago. Double teams lead to skip passes, and they'll knock down shots off the skip pass.
Brian Murphy with the basketball back into the ball game. Sanders sits down after missing a couple of easy ones underneath the bucket. Steele with the ball, kicks it back over to Murphy. He can shoot it from there, and that's a big three off the bench.
Big three off the bench, trying to get a little bit of momentum for them and cut the thing now to 6 points, which is the closest that John Carroll has been in this basketball game since it started.
Led by as many as 13 has Bob Jones, but John Carroll is trying to swing the momentum here in the third quarter. Near steal out top by Sanders. Battle. Here's Sullivan on the move. Gives it back to Steele. Rolls off the front rim and a whistle underneath. And I believe they just got Jabari Carroll.
Yeah, they're going to call an offensive foul off the boards. They don't let these guys play enough off the boards. This is good high school basketball. They let these guys play off the boards a little bit. They don't call the foul hit the 10-second line, but they get in there off the boards and end up calling one in traffic.
Carroll pushing on Doxson underneath, picking up his second foul. It's the first on John Carroll here in the second half. Picking up the intensity defensively. Nice pass underneath the Tony, and Carroll erases that one. Here's Carroll. Will he get rewarded offensively? No, but he will pick up a foul. We'll see who gets this one. This one will go against Tyler Roberts.
Here's a good look by Jordan to throw the ball down to the baseline, and a little shot there is blocked. Tony's shot's blocked, and Carroll takes it to the other end.
Lockett trying to draw the charge. No whistle, but I think he altered that shot just a bit. On the other end, three-pointer. Oh, my goodness. Trey Butler. He's been the quiet man among the trio of guards. That's only his 5th point of the ball game. But Tony, along with Howell, have been doing the work. Steele gets the ball and goes to work. Murphy's three. Can't cash in from the opposite side. Steele tries to save it, and I think he did knock it off Lockett. Indeed, he did. Nice hustle by both guys.
Here's the last three-pointer that they drilled off the quick pass, and you know, one thing I want to mention, when you talk about the two guys, when you talk about the two guys for each team, Howell and Ronald Steele, both of them are very, very unselfish as far as looking ahead to get the basketball ahead.
The two superstars are taking over. 3:23 left to go in the third. Bob Jones still holding on to a 9-point lead.
What is the most influential time in a child's life? Age 6, 8, 12. Actually, Actually, it's between 3 and 8 every afternoon. That's the time a kid is most likely to get into trouble. Or worse. Which is exactly why that's the time the Boys and Girls Clubs open their doors and their arms to kids all over the country every day. When kids walk into these clubs, they're surrounded by people who care what happens to them. Adults who make sure these children continue to learn and grow long after the school bell rings. But there's still thousands more kids who need our help. Thousands of kids who need help to prepare for a positive future. Please help keep these doors open. Support the Boys and Girls Clubs, the positive place for kids.
Bob Jones faithful making the trip down from North Alabama, hoping their team can pull off the upset here against the top-ranked Cavaliers of John Carroll. Thomas, he's been quiet offensively.
He has been quiet. Nice little left-handed jump shot there off the put on the floor and penetrated it a little bit. The defense didn't come to him. He drilled it home.
His first bucket of the game, back to a 7-point lead. Howell misses an easy layup on the other end, but hustles to get the ball back. Roberts penetrates, kicks it back out. Layup, someone got a piece of that one from Trey Butler.
Each tip becomes more and more important. There's 2:42 on the clock. I don't care if it is the third quarter. Each basketball team has got to deliver.
Sullivan may have got away with the travel
here. He may have. Pretty good delivery, though. Nice pass inside. May have changed pivot feet, but it wasn't called. So, got a 47-42 game.
30-second timeout called by the Patriots.
There you see the jump shot. Here you see the little kick inside. Quick move, drop step, right back to the inside, laid against the glass. We've got a 5-point basketball game, been 10 points most of the game. Should be a whale of a game these last 2:31 and also in this last quarter.
The John Carroll crowd has been fairly quiet here for most of the game, but coming to life now.
Well, you know, anytime that you won 35 basketball games without a loss, because Bob, as we mentioned, Bob Jones has won 35. I think they've lost 4 or 5 games. You've got 2 basketball teams with 70 wins. Means they know what they're doing, and they're very poised under pressure.
Here's Howell working against the pressure of Steele. Tony flashes to the goal, left that one a little short. Carroll may have followed that shot a little bit. And a chance to cut it to 3, possibly 2 here. Sanders takes a look at it and then throws it to absolutely no one.
Well, he really didn't take a look to see where he was throwing. He just thought he saw somebody over and pitched it, and it looked like that momentum was going to get a little bit on John Carroll's side, but that snuffed it out pretty quick for right now.
2 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. 5-point lead for the Patriots. Here's Howell working on Steele. That's a pretty pass to Lockett.
Great look inside. Great look to Lockett inside. Lockett turned and really made a very difficult shot, not being able to use the glass. He's a very skilled player.
His first bucket of the second half after 13 in the first half. Steele, somebody got a piece of it, still got it off. I don't know how. The Patriots are on the run. Tony kicks it back out. Howell there to rescue the errant pass. Slashes inside and rewards Tony, and count it with the foul.
The one thing you have to have in this game, is you have to have a safety man. And they got out on the break because there wasn't anybody back, and then Howell has delivered, got the ball on the break, and he's delivered really 2 excellent passes. He's set up both of these field goals for Bob Jones.
15 points in the ball game now for Marshall Tony. He came in averaging 12 a ball game. Maybe the best defender on the club, but he brought his offensive game here today. Sanders can't get the kind roll. Carroll, offensive rebound, blocked from behind, and they'll tie it up. The ball will stay with John Carroll, but Fernandez Lockett with those long arms can just reach over the top.
Yeah, he really can. John Carroll's shots have just not been able to fall. They've got to the rim and got around the rim, but they're not able to fall.
Dan Bale talked about what a tough matchup he is with those long arms. May have gotten a little piece of that one as well from Sullivan. Carroll, no. Back inside, knocked away from Sullivan. Wanted a foul, no call, but they'll get the ball back as the Patriots throw it away on the other end.
It's like a volleyball game. It's over and over and over and over. They can't seem to get it to go down. They had some pretty good little shots in there off the offensive glass, but it just won't fall. And Bob Jones looking to run, which they should do, just made an errant pass there out of bounds. But they, I think one of the things they have done is to get the basketball out and get it down the floor and get some cheap baskets.
Chris Johnson, Brian Murphy back in for John Carroll.
You know, you talk about shooting percentages, and cheap baskets are the important thing, and that makes your shooting percentage go up, and it's one thing John Carroll hadn't have many of is cheap baskets.
Johnson, three-pointer from way out, no. And on the run are the Patriots. 2-on-1, Howell finishes.
There's your cheap basket on the other end, as I was mentioning, and John Carroll can't get any of those much. Bob Jones has gotten a lot of them. Great pass.
Athletic move by Sanders, but in way too much traffic. Here's Howell on the run again. He's directing traffic. Ball slapped away. Last touch by the Cavs. It'll stay with the Patriots.
Gets a dribble drive to the basket from the sideline and takes it in and gets that easy shot. That's just beating the defense back.
Steele trying to steal one away out front from Lockett. In the corner to Tony. He was wide open. They're just looking to kill a little clock here and milk it down for the last shot as we're inside 10 seconds. Here's Butler going to work, slashing to the goal, kicks it out in the corner. Extra pass. Doesn't pay off this time, though, as Howell can't get the shot to go down at the buzzer. But nevertheless, it's a long road back for John Carroll in the final 8 minutes of this ball game if they want to claim the crowd. They trail Bob Jones by a dozen as we head to the fourth quarter in Birmingham for the 6A state title.
I've never found a more secure, more consistent, and more prolific investment than putting your money in pre-construction condominiums.
You can buy a condo. Come down, fish, golf, sail. Gulf Coast is great.
I've probably made around $1 million per year.
So what you're basically doing is getting immediate appreciation off your investment.
To find out more, call us toll-free. The information is free and there is no obligation.
Violence doesn't solve problems. Violence hurts people. Be alert. If you know someone may become violent, help them. How? Tell someone. Tell your parent. Tell your teacher. Tell your Boys and Girls Club director. You can help prevent violence. Help yourself. Help your friends. Be alert. Tell someone. It's up to you.
NCAA football opens its doors to everyone.
The doors are wide open for academics and athletics.
It's a chance to demonstrate excellence. To show creativity and innovation both in the classroom and on the field.
NCAA football gives everyone a chance to be great.
A dozen points separate Bob Jones and John Carroll as we head to the fourth quarter. Jordan Howell has come alive here in the second half. Kind of plays like a throwback sometimes, and he's kind of got that throwback hair to the 70s, but he certainly has all the game you can want and then some. Lockett stepping on the inbounds.
Here's what you're going to see, Kevin. You're going to see a lot of double teaming by John Carroll, a lot of skip passes by Bob Jones, a lot of jump shots by Bob Jones. Of course, John Carroll is trying to create some turnovers, get themselves back in this basketball game. Plenty of time.
Chris Johnson thought about the pass and then picked it back up, called for the double dribble. And we should say the officials are calling this one pretty tight as far as ball handling is concerned. Will Callan, 6'1" senior, back into the lineup. CJ, as they call him for John Carroll, getting a little talk from Marty Smith. Telling him we can't be turning it over at this juncture in the ball game. Every possession is do or die from here on out. Butler working out of the trap. Finds Tony in the middle of the lane. No, Lockett almost corralled that with one hand. Sullivan clears it.
There was your high post opportunity right there. He couldn't get to go down, but it's wide open against those double teams.
Murphy step inside the three-point line. He's got a couple of buckets off the bench.
Brian Murphy's a good little shooter off the bench. He's come in drilled too. That ball comes down that left-hand side and quick pass to Brown, and he really does a nice job of squaring up, looking at the throat and knocking it home.
Bob Jones beats the pressure easily once again. Swinging in the corner to Lockett. Here's Howell. Slicing through the defense. Finds an open spot. Oh, my. That's vintage. Steele on the other end. Gets a little hand check from Trey Butler. That'll be his second personal. Let's take a look at Jordan Howell go to work.
Jordan Howell, a really good move. It's sort of spreading the court a little bit against these traps and getting some people over. Coach Jordan is terrific with the ball. He handles it so well and moves with it so well. It's very hard to hem him up.
Steele on the penetration, unselfishly finds Sullivan, can't cash in. Offensive rebound, though he does.
John Carroll's inside team will have a pretty tough day.
Steele has had to do it all, basically, for this team offensively. Butler flashing in strong to the hole. Could have drawn a foul there.
Yeah, very good distribution by Bob Jones' basketball team. They've distributed the ball very well and got everybody scoring.
Carroll goes in against Holden, who with 4 personals can't afford to pick up his 5th. Wants to stay in the ball game. I think he wants to be around for the end of this one.
I would imagine they're going to try to take the ball as much as they can inside because he's not going to defend many people.
A little oohs and ahs, a little fancy ball handling here at midcourt. Lockett, three-pointer, not this time, and a whistle underneath, loose ball foul. Looks like this one will go against Marshall Tony of Bob Jones, his first.
Here's the putback. Foul occurred, pushing using his hands. And it goes back to John Carroll. Big possession right here with just under 6 minutes to go.
Sullivan still working hard down inside. And I believe Fernando Holden may have just picked up his 5th. Indeed he did. So Fernando Holden, the 6'7" senior, will have to watch the rest of this championship game from the bench.
Well, Fernando did an excellent job in there. When you get 4 fouls, Kevin, it's very, very difficult to play very aggressive. The offensive team or the other coach wants to take the basketball inside against you, which they've done. And one time they got the layup, the second time he ended up fouling. So it's hard on you.
He's not done, though. He's encouraging the crowd. No points for Holden, who's really not a scorer. He's mostly in there as a space eater and a shot blocker, and he did that today along with Lockett. He helped alter a bunch of shots down inside for John Carroll. A lot of easy looks.
Well, this is a great day for both these teams, these coaches, to be able to play in the 2003 state final game is something you'll always remember.
Miss on Sullivan. Carroll sticks it back. He's got 12 points in the ball game.
I tell you, John Carroll's missing all the free throws. They've done a pretty decent job, though, of rebounding the missed shots off the free throw. And Bob Jones has struggled a little bit getting them blocked out. I think Dan's going to hit home a little bit. But, getting that bucket right there was important after having missed both free throws.
Cuts it back to single digits now, 59-50, with still plenty of time to go. We'll see if the John Carroll comes back with that pressure defense once again that they really haven't been able to discourage Bob Jones with all day.
They haven't. They've thrown over the top of it, as we indicated. It'll be interesting to see. The pressure is about 3/4, and then they get them as they come to. It'll be interesting to see if they extend the press a little bit and pick up the guy out of bounds with the ball, or if they do anything differently. I would imagine a timeout is for a particular reason, and I guess that reason is to make some changes with his basketball team during the last 5:47 defensively. The way the three-point shot is today, Kevin, 59-50 doesn't mean anything. I mean, you can lose it and lose that lead. It's just 3 possession games, what it is.
Especially with a couple of scorers like Steele and Carroll on the other side. Steele has done his part today, 21 points, Jordan Howell, though, has countered 18 points, 4 rebounds, and most importantly, I think those 6 assists right there.
You're exactly right. Those 6 assists have been huge. When he was hemmed up, he looked to get the basketball. Now, here's what I talked about. They're extending the pressure a little bit more all the way down to the baseline, and I think that's the best move for John Carroll. But I'll guarantee you that Bob Jones has done a pretty nice job of working against that, and it'll be interesting to see if that helps John Carroll any.
Howell, Tony, over to Roberts. They beat the pressure. And now we'll set things up offensively. They're looking to get the ball in that man's hands right there. Chris Johnson gambling for a steal and picking up a foul. It'll be his second. 3rd team foul on John Carroll.
Well, I don't know. Both teams have had ticky-tack fouls called on them, I think.
One thing's for sure is this game's not going to get out of control.
No, that's for sure.
Lockett goes down, and he's holding his right hamstring. I think he may have hurt himself on that. Scrambled, meanwhile, at midcourt. Carroll trying to call for a timeout.
He did get a timeout, and
his teammates were hustling over to help with the call.
You know, anytime you see a kid on the floor with the ball, or as we're fixing to see here, or going out of bounds, they call the timeout. That's just the name of the game in basketball.
Hernandez Lockett is a bit gimpy coming up after that one. Went down holding his hamstring, but seems to have shaken it off.
You're going to see, I think, indicated after the last timeout, any score by John Carroll, instead of playing three-quarter zone defense or three-quarter man or whatever, that they're going all the way to the baseline trying to pick up these people and really do a little bit more, I don't know if gambling's the word, a little bit more pressure, a little bit further down the floor than they've been, and try to create some turnovers. They have not made many shots inside this afternoon. They have not made many free throws. You've got to give Bob Jones a terrific amount of credit for the way they have played in this basketball game as well. They have, as we indicated so many times, really passed the ball well, gotten the ball over the zone defenses, beat the pressure, run the fast break, and shown the Cavaliers a little different defense than they normally see in a boxing one or a triangling one.
Ronald Steele, double-double, 21 points, 10 rebounds, and needs probably a couple more buckets here in the late going if John Carroll is going to make a comeback. Carroll gets it partially blocked by Howell, tied up. It'll stay with the Cavaliers as Hernandez Lockett locked up down inside with Carroll. Steele triggers the inbounds to Murphy, and he stepped on the sideline.
I tell you what, I had that happen to me a couple of times with some of my teams, and it just drives you batty. To see that, you know, a thing's 50 feet wide, you got to know where you are.
Make you wear smaller shoes next time.
That's exactly right. Thank you.
They kick it over in the corner to Butler. He finds a slashing Tyler Roberts.
Nice flash, nice pass, good left-hand shot in there.
Roberts, 6 points off the bench, and he provides them a little spark at times. Lockett knocks it away.
Here you're going to see the pass to the baseline, and then little man cuts it right down the middle using his left hand on the left-hand side of the floor, and it just tailor-made for him. Cut that defense to pieces there.
Johnson, high post here to Carroll. Slashes in. Won't go, but nice job to follow his shot. 14 for Carroll. And it's back to a 9-point lead, but Bob Jones on the other end not backing off.
Hey, Garden Steve.
Trey Butler.
Trey Butler on a rainbow off the break. Only a good shot if you make it.
He's now in double figures with 10. 4 players now in double digits for Bob Jones inside to Carroll. Will they count the bucket? They do.
They will.
And Roberts picks up personal number 4.
Carroll's done a nice job inside. Not a whole lot of his shots have fallen, but he's done a pretty nice job. He hasn't made many of his free throws. He's a nice basketball player.
Brandon Sanders back in, replacing Sullivan. Carroll's a guy who really had to overcome some sickness. He had strep throat earlier this week and really got off to a slow start in the semifinals. Came back in the second half, had a strong game, and he's done the same here in this ball game. Now with 16 points, a chance to make it 17. Murphy back out of the lineup, replaced by Joel Thomas. Double-double for Carroll, in fact. Done a nice job on the boards as well. This is the free throw. Every point crucial from here on out. Butler, will he do it again? This time, maybe a little ill-advised. Tony with the offensive board, but took an extra step. Dan Bell doesn't like the call.
Well, they thought there was a foul there, and there may have been.
Doesn't like the call, but Bell has got to like his team's position right now. 3:53 left to go in the state championship game. Right now, the Patriots lead it by 10.
Hi, I'm John Scherer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. You know, after teaching people how to operate their computers for over 15 years now, I'm amazed that there are still people that don't have computer skills, like Windows, word processing, the internet, and email. If you're looking for that new job, or maybe it's just balancing your budget, or even helping your kids with homework, these aren't handy skills to have. These are essential. If you're having trouble learning the computer, I'm going to help you out with a free learning lesson of your choice from Video Professor. Let me show you how simple this is. You put the CD in your CD drive. The lesson plays just like a video on your computer screen. The best part about this offer, this is free. You just pay a small shipping and handling, and I'll even refund that if you're not satisfied with my product. It's free, the risk is free, so what do you got to lose? Try my product.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-430-4932.
Violence doesn't solve problems. Violence hurts people. Be alert. If you know someone may become violent, help them. How? Tell someone. Tell your parent. Tell your teacher. Tell your Boys and Girls Club director. You can help prevent violence. Help yourself. Help your friends. Be alert. Tell someone. It's up to you.
Now, your first source for round-the-clock sports news is even better. The new ESPN News, with the enhanced bottom line that's always on and lets you know what's ahead. Constant score updates and live in-game stats, highlights, news conferences, analysis, and more. The new ESPN News.
See ESPN News right here on CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast.
You know, here's what's happening in each huddle. In Bob Jones's huddle, Dan Bell's telling his basketball team to take a good shot. They'll foul you. There's no clock in high school basketball. And so, you know, they're trying to play a little bit more patient game. John Carroll's end is they've got to get some baskets, some quick baskets, and really do a good job with their pressure and cause some turnovers. Those two things I'm sure were talked about in each huddle.
Sanders goes baseline, up and under move on Lockett. Great job just to get that off, and he hustles to get the stick back. Only 4 points in the game for Sanders, but those were two pretty big ones right there. 8-point lead. And a trap in the corner. Tony gives it off to Roberts, and he dribbled it off his foot.
Sure did. Went back to his left, used his left hand, just happened to dribble it off his foot. Here's the last basket prior to that. Quick move inside, little shot that comes out. Good offensive board, good putback.
Chance to trim into that lead once again. Here's Carroll. He's been hot here lately. Got the roll. 6-point game.
Yeah, I talked about at the timeout. You never know. Where the roll hasn't been falling for him much. The high post, we talked about the high post area being open, and he knocked it home with kind of an awkward shot, but she rolled in.
They beat the press again. Jordan Howell never saw a shot he didn't like. Maybe should have pulled that one back. Because now they've got a chance to trim into that 6-point lead. Sanders got the roll again. The rim is kind right now to the Cavaliers. 4-point game. Howell, 3-on-1 situation. Lockett.
Big pass to Lockett down on the baseline. Good look by Howell. I imagine this timeout right here is going to be, as I talked about earlier, here's the pass down to the baseline for John Carroll. And then as that happens, they get the ball on the break, past the press, down to the baseline, and Lockett knocks it home. So right now, again, when you're in Bob Jones's huddle, I'm sure Dan's telling them to really not slow it down, but attack the basket, but be sure that you don't just try to force it and turn the basketball over. Be sharp, smooth your passes. On the other hand, they're certainly telling them to do a good job defensively, get the ball inside. Still got plenty of time, and they're encouraging them as well. Heck of a game.
Dan Bell's Patriots never been to the state tournament, but they're making the most of their first trip, trying to pull off the unthinkable and ruin the perfect season for John Carroll. Steele kicks it ahead to Murphy. Roberts kicks it out of bounds. Here's Carroll out top working on Butler, and Butler got a shot to the nose, but a personal foul called against him, so he got a double shot.
Well, one thing you don't want to do is foul, because it sends them to the line and it stops the clock. It also makes them a 1-and-1. They have not, attempted a lot of free throws, haven't made many. But I guess the one thing you don't want to do there is stop this clock and give them an opportunity to score points with the clock stopped. And with a 66-60 game, that's pretty important.
Big free throw right there. 19 points for Damari Carroll. He transferred over from Minor High School this past summer in order to be part of a special team, and he met Ronald Steele this summer and thought that they could be something special, and they have been. Kicked ball that time by the Cavaliers, so it'll stay with the Patriots.
Close to being a steal, but anytime he kicks the ball, it goes back to the opponent. There's a good throw over right there.
Good court vision that time, but not such good court vision by Lockett, who throws it away. Carroll throws it over to Steele, near Steele that time by Lockett, and look at him get Sullivan involved. No, shot won't go, but a foul over the back on Trey Butler.
What a great look by Ronald Steele then. He has got terrific vision to get that basketball down to the basket. He did that.
Butler picking up his fourth personal. Take another look.
Here's the midcourt steal. Push the ball up, get the ball to the guy who can handle it. As they do, he penetrates, looks inside, whammo, the ball down to the basket, foul occurs.
Carroll has hit some big free throws. Marty Smith calling for a gut check over on the bench, trying to get his team and the crowd involved. 3-point lead. Here comes the pressure. Roberts thinks better of that pass and then finally puts it in the hands of Butler. Goes back to Butler. They kick it out to Fernandez Lockett, and they're playing some smart basketball here now, killing a little clock.
Got the floor spread.
Butler doesn't care. Maybe his second ill-advised shot here in the fourth quarter.
Big miss there. As long as you can hold the ball and draw the foul, you're better off doing that. And he selected to go ahead and shoot it. Of course, he was open, but time and score is very, very important.
Carroll's had the hot hand lately, but I still think you go to your man right here, Ronald Steele. It is Carroll going to work. Has it nearly stolen by Howell. Kick it over in the corner. Chris Johnson, big three. Got it.
Huge three. First time in a basketball game that John Carroll has been anywhere close except the opening minute. Here we go.
They tied it up. Here we go on the other end. Butler draws a foul. Only the fourth team foul, though, for John Carroll, so we'll inbound it once again. Chris Johnson may have just hit the biggest shot of his career. The senior stepping up.
Boy, it was a big shot. They were 1 3-point possession down, and he knocked it home. Foul on the other end. They're not shooting the free throws, so the foul really didn't hurt them that much.
Big-time run put on by the Cavs. 14-5 in the last 3 minutes. Under a minute to go here. Knotted up. We haven't decided a thing yet. Roberts avoids the trap, nearly threw it away. Carroll gambles for the steal. What's the call? Blocking. Johnson begging for the charge.
Both officials looked at each other. I'm not sure exactly. They had eye contact, and I think they decided to call it, which was probably a good call.
At that point, in this juncture of this ball game with this crowd, they're probably hoping the other one would make the call.
Yeah, that was the point I was making. One of them more than the other one to make it.
38 seconds to go to crown a 6A champion, and boy, this one has been a barn burner.
Now, what you try to do here with no clock, I would imagine, is run it down to the last shot. Spread the floor and run it down to the last shot. Or, Kevin, if you get a cheap one or an easy one or an uncontested one early, then you take it. But if you don't get something that's not 100% sure or 99% sure, you probably back it out for the last shot or try to draw the foul. Foul situation for both teams. Team fouls at just 5 on John Carroll, so they still have one to give. And that is, I think, a very important statement there. They've still got a foul, so they could foul if need be.
Butler and Roberts with 4 personals each. But if you would think, game on the line, you put it in the hands of Jordan Howell. Let him create on his own. If they cut him off, dish to the open man.
The important thing here is when. And the defense has got to play well enough to keep the pressure on them, and the offense has got to do a good job of not turning the basketball over.
They put Chris Johnson on him, not Ronald Steele, so Steele matches up with Butler across the way, and they are going to milk it for the very last shot.
For the last shot. You can understand that.
Carroll trying to trap out top. No. Roberts kicks it. Fernandez Lockett thought about the shot. He'll kick it back out. 10 seconds to go, and once again, Bob Jones calls a timeout. They're going to set things up now for one play.
Well, you never know what they're going to do. They could go inside. They're certainly trying to get the basketball to Howell for the shot. Of course, they've got anybody on there. They've got a very capable basketball team because they've got just about every guy on their team in double figures scoring, and it's going to be a situation. Here's what has to happen. John Carroll has to make them shoot the shot under pressure, a contested shot, and then they have to rebound the basketball. While Jones is in, they've got to get the best shot possible. Don't shoot it too early, and not give John Carroll a chance to rebound it and take it to the other end. It's got to be some, even though it's only 10.9, that 10.9 has got to have some patience in it for Bob Jones. John Carroll can't afford to foul. That would be a great 10.9 seconds.
Both teams encouraging the crowd to get on their feet. I don't think they need any encouraging. They've been on their feet for the last couple of quarters. Marshall Toney to trigger it inbounds from right in front of us. And it is Steele matching up with Howell this time. And they did have the foul to give, so there you go. You got a couple to give.
That was the foul. They have one to give.
One to give.
Okay. That's it. That's it. That's the only one now. They shoot the free throws from here on out, which is a good move by Coach.
Only taking just over a second off the clock, so here we go. In the hands of Butler, working on Carroll. Toney, they give it to Howell. He's the man. Pull up. Three-pointer. Not this time. Steele brings it away for John Carroll. And why not? Let's play some extra basketball.
Well, this is the best that John Carroll could hope for because of the situation with the basketball for Bob Jones. And Howell got a good look. They played smart. They fouled and ran a little time off the clock. He got an excellent look. Dan did a good job of getting his guy shot. And they were fortunate. John Carroll was fortunate the ball didn't go in. So we got a 4-minute overtime for the state championship 6A of Alabama.
John Carroll battling back from as many as 13 points. And we're going to play overtime to decide the 6A champion. Back for OT on CSS to decide the 6A state championship after this timeout.
I've never found a more secure, more consistent, and more prolific investment than putting your money in pre-construction condominiums.
You can buy a condo. Come down, fish, golf, sail. Gulf Coast is great.
I've probably made around $1 million per year.
So what you're basically doing is getting immediate appreciation off your investment.
To find out more, call us toll-free. The information is free and there is no obligation.
Possession on a jump ball is very critical. Some people play what they call a defensive tip, where they put 3 guys back. This jump ball situation gives you an extra possession, so see what happens.
An extra 4 minutes on the clock. John Carroll wins the tip. Steele goes right to Sanders underneath. And Lockett got a piece of it.
Good pass inside.
Bob Jones calling timeout. Lockett in a situation there under the basket with nowhere to go.
Well, they got the, a heck of a pass inside. The shot was taken and couldn't get to go down. Bob Jones calls timeout. Maybe he didn't get through telling what he wanted to after the regulation, but I would imagine you're going to see the floor spread a little bit by Bob Jones. Maybe Powell handling the ball most of the time, although they've got players on their team that can darn sure play. And I think a big thing for John Carroll is that they try to pressure as much as possible without the foul.
Steele with 21 points in the ball game. Coach, we talked about his unselfish play, but at some juncture, when do you become too unselfish?
Well, I think
he hasn't scored in quite a while.
I think if you're in that lane and you've got the shot, unless the guy's just got a wide open shot, you got to take a few of them. But he is an unselfish kid and a terrific basketball player, and makes his teammates better. And that's what you look for out of your guards. They've got to make the teammates better. They've got to score and they've got to defend. They backed off so much full court pressure now.
With a 3-quarter court, and the quick hands of Steele creates a turnover. He finds Sanders. Will he capitalize this time? Yeah.
It's Steele there. They kind of nonchalantly passed that ball, and Steele stole it.
Dangerous pass to Lockett, who's in some trouble. And when you're in trouble, go to Jordan Howell. Oh, Carroll got a piece of that one. Lockett, no, in and out.
It's the first time that the pressure has really affected Bob Jones at all, and just sort of a careless cross-court pass then. Be interested to see how much spreading of the floor John Carroll does now with a 2-point lead.
No one underneath the basket right now for John Carroll. They spread things out. Here's Carroll. Looking to drive on Roberts. Does. Dishes. Sanders. Throws it away. Here's Butler. May have gotten away with a travel. Howell. 3. No. Lockett. Offensive rebound. Yeah. And the foul.
Nothing like an offensive glass, and they did that. Howell got the good look. Howell got the good look. Here's your little free throw line jump shot by John Carroll, and here's your missed shot on the perimeter. Really good rebound, really strong. Put it back up. Got fouled to the line now. Still plenty of time in this basketball game.
19 points, 12 rebounds for Fernandez Lockett. Put on an offensive showcase in the first half. 4 electrifying dunks, but maybe those points right there could turn out to be the biggest.
Well, you don't ever know. It's a long time in this basketball game.
John Carroll back out in front. Steele. The iron unkind. Lockett clears it away and numbers for the Patriots. Butler leaves a pretty pass for Roberts.
Good 3-on-1 break. Very unselfish break. Really good look. Nice layup. That's why he brought it on the blackboard.
The extra pass, giving the Patriots a 3-point lead. Murphy, they know he can shoot it out there, guarding him closely.
Still got to have patience, both teams do, and certainly John Carroll does. They can't try to force anything.
Inside to Sullivan, put it on the floor, almost had it taken away. Here's Steele. Will he create? Here he goes. Murphy drives in and lost the ball out of bounds, but Roberts got a fingertip on it. He didn't think so.
Here's your break. 3-on-1, ball to the middle and back to the right wing, and a nice bank shot. That's really good 3-on-1 break by Bob Jones. Heck of a basketball game by two very talented teams.
Steele triggers it in to Carroll. Still respecting his three-point range, even though he's 0 for 3 behind the arc in this ball game, and a full timeout called by Marty Smith.
Well, Marty wants to be sure they get something good. You don't try to force something, and it's plenty of time. 3-point game is a long way from being over with, but you don't want to jack up something or not get a shot at all. I think that's the important thing. To settle them down and, to get the best 2 you can or the best 3 you can. On the other bench, certainly Dan's cutting his ball club to try to test every shot, block out, and rebound the missed shot.
4 players in double figures for Bob Jones, led by the 20 points of Fernandez Lockett. 18 from Jordan Howell. On the other side, 21 apiece for Carroll and Steele for John Carroll. 3-point ball game right now. Both teams with a timeout. Both teams in the 1-and-1 situation. If you've caught your breath, here we go again. 1:27 left to go. Sanders to trigger it in. Go to him on the high post. Give it off to Steele. He goes to work. 3-pointer. Couldn't get it off. Had to dish it inside. Sullivan in and out. Oh, they've missed some big-time shots down inside. Here's Butler going to work.
They're going to spread it, I would imagine, if they've got possession in a 3-point lead.
Under a minute to go. And the foul call. I think they're going to get Brian Murphy.
Well, you need to play as good defense as you can without the foul, of course. Sometimes you have to, and that's a situation where you might want to go a little bit longer without trying to steal the basketball. Free throw situation, Bob Jones attempted 6 and made 4. Their shooting percentage, they haven't attempted near as many free throws, but they've percentage a little bit better.
Attempted 20 less, but John Carroll has not capitalized, and that could be pretty much the story of the game.
Steele needs to go on with it if they're going to get back in the game. He can't walk it up the floor. He needs to push it on.
A big miss that time for Bob Jones at the stripe. Murphy, 3-pointer on the way. Side rims it. Sullivan, offensive rebound. Carroll sticks it back in. 1-point game and a timeout call. Last timeout for the Cavaliers.
Well, you're going to see now continued pressure, trying to do a good job without the foul. And then once they see that they can't do that, then the foul will have to occur. And naturally, Bob Jones' basketball team wants to put the ball, Kevin, in the hands of the best free throw shooter. That's the important thing. Whatever happens, the ball has got to come to the guy that shoots the free throws the best percentage over the years. We're going to have the best making a shot if the foul occurs.
You would think that would be numero uno, Jordan Howell.
Yeah, probably would. Now, what John Carroll tries to do is to keep the basketball off of him. Best he can without the foul. I don't know. I would think that Howell would not throw it in, but would try to receive it.
1 point lead for Bob Jones. They still have a timeout remaining. John Carroll just spent its last one.
I think you'll have Tyler Roberts throw it in, probably, so he can get the ball to somebody who makes a lot of free throws. And so let's see if they keep the ball off. They're going to have to keep it off of him.
At 6'4", he sees pretty well over the top, and he's a smart passer. And there they do get it in the hands of Howell. They bring some pressure, throws over the pressure into the hands of Lockett, drives in, a hard foul that time by Johnson. Hernandez Lockett was thinking showtime.
I don't know why you shoot that one, really. I would think that you want to, back it out as much as you can. But, he took the ball to the glass, and he makes these 2 free throws. It was a good move.
5th foul for Chris Johnson. He is done for the afternoon, but one thing you can say, even at 5'9", he was going to make sure that Lockett got nowhere near the basket with that ball. That was a hard foul.
The biggest thing you have to have here is you have to have a good block out in case he does miss. A good block out. He knocks it down, and you're going to be down 3. If he doesn't, then you're going to have to rebound that thing and get it down the floor and get what you want to call a timeout. Time and score you work on every day in practice late in the year. All year.
Big miss. Misses.
There's a rebound. Let's see if the timeout occurs.
No timeouts left for John Carroll.
Okay, that's it.
So here we go with this for the ball game. Steele nearly has it taken away. Spins away from the pressure, drives in, scoop move to the hole, carried in the foul. Oh my!
Unbelievable shot by Steele. Basketball game's a long way from being over, but he made a heck of a scoop shot. I'm sure we'll see it again. And the thing is a heck of a shot. It's a scoop shot. Great shot. Certainly a great shot. But the one thing you can't do in your excitement is you have to understand you need 2 people back on this, because 10 seconds, Kevin, is an eternity. If they don't have anybody back, I think they're going to, if they don't have anybody back and they don't see anybody back, well, they got somebody with a cut. And they're going to bring
Jeremy Sullivan, apparently having a little blood around the mouth area, so they bring Brian Murphy off the bench.
Brian Murphy.
We said put it in the hands of Ronald Steele, Coach, and that's what they did.
That's what they did. And you spoke a minute ago about when did he become unselfish, and that time he took the scoop shot and made it. So
unbelievable shot.
It's a shame for either one of these teams.
And that is the killer right there. Offensive rebound, Steele running away from the pressure. Finally, Marshall Toney able to catch up with him with 7.6 left on the clock, and he gets another trip to the line. We saw early in the game, Coach, a lot of dead ball rebounds for John Carroll off missed free throws, and that right there was huge.
Well, Bob Jones missed the last 3 free throws they took. Had an opportunity for 2 down here on this end and missed it. They wouldn't be in this situation right now. Of course, the game's still not over. Still, I think this is a 2-shot foul. Yeah, it is a 2-shot foul. So
it is the 10th team foul for Bob Jones.
That is very critical.
Jeremy Sullivan wanting to check back into the lineup. He's taking a seat at the scorer's table. 2 big free throws here to try and make it a 3-point game.
tell you, it'll be a heartbreaker for either one of these ball clubs, especially Bob Jones, because they played so well throughout the entire game. In fact, led the entire game.
Even if he does make this, 7.6, plenty of time to get a look.
You have to pressure some. If he makes it, you have to pressure a little bit and make him use a little clock. If you don't, Howell will come down busted.
Hits them both. Here we go. Howell, the ball in his hands. Has it knocked away. That'll do it. Carroll, exclamation point. John Carroll is your 6A state champion.
Well, I know it's just an absolute heartbreaking loss for Bob Jones. They played a terrific game. And I know they're heartbroken. Heck of a high school basketball game.
Jordan Howell face down at midcourt in a nice
John Carroll never gave up. And I can tell you it's a very tough time for that basketball team. They're very well coached. Both teams very well coached. Played their hearts out. 76-71, and that's not any indication of how tight this basketball game was.
It was a nail-biter from start to finish, but John Carroll does it. Running the gauntlet, 36-0. A perfect season and a perfect ending. As Amari Carroll came up with a steal and hammered it home.
Well, that's the first 2 or 3 minutes of this game. I don't think John Carroll led until these 2 free throws by Steele, and 36-0, and a devastating loss, and I know a disappointing loss for a very fine Bob Jones team.
Marty Smith and the Cavaliers celebrate the 6A state championship as John Carroll defeats Bob Jones 76-71. For my partner, Coach Win Sanderson, it was a great one. We hope you enjoyed it as well. Good night from the BJCC Arena. The Cavaliers claim the crown.
I've never found a more